So, Grant, thanks for agreeing to chat to me today.
You're welcome.
I thought it would be nice, actually, if you could just give a little bit of a background as to how you've got to where you are now.
Right, oh blimey. I guess my career started when I left Somerset, came to London to work as a personal trainer. I was based at London Bridge, and then went from there to work at Reebok, and it was probably then that I started to express a little bit of an interest in NLP. I went from there and then set up my own business working as a personal trainer, with NLP really being kind of this little thing in my head that was buzzing away back there that I should read up on and I should do a course and all these types of things. And eventually I did go and do a course, and found that it made quite a sizable difference to my personal training business, which went from a kind of state where it was just ticking over nicely to exploding. And obviously I'd not got any more knowledge as a trainer as such. I'd not learned anything from that side of it, but the NLP changed me and changed my approach, which made a massive difference to how I was conducting myself with my clients. And people at the place that I was working, they picked up on that, and I just all of a sudden had clients flying in from all over. And I think it enabled me to have a kind of much more varied client base.
Okay.
Whereas before, I had a very regimented idea about how things needed to be, and after doing my NLP practitioner course, I realised that it's good to have that kind of core belief and value about what you think is important, but equally it's good to have a flexibility in that to enable you to work with different types of people, because your business is going to be very, very limited if you're just working with people that are exactly like you.
Exactly, yes, exactly. And so, having done the NLP practitioner course, everything kind of exploded a little bit for you, didn't it?
Yeah.
So I know you've worked quite a bit with elite sport through your personal training, and using NLP with that.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
My passion has always been motorcycling. Been into it ever since I was a little kid. So when I did my NLP, I realised that I could, match the two. I said, well, this is my passion outside work, and this is my working passion. So let's see if I can get these two working together. So I started to go to races and chat to people. I wasn't forceful. I don't believe in the hard sell, so I just turned up and was just nice and cool and courteous and chatting to people, and started to pick up a few clients just for physical training. And then the more I worked with them and told them about the NLP side of things, the more interested they were in that side of things. Being very male testosterone filled guys, a lot of them were interested but didn't believe that it would be any use for them, because they full of kind of ego and I don't need help, I'm the best that I can be. Again, without being kind of hard or doing a hard sell, I just slowly started to talk about it more and more, and they came a bit more interested, and I said, well, let's try this. We started off just doing some very basic visualization work, which worked really, really well. And then really when I went on to do my master practitioner, doing a lot more work with strategies and controlling anxiety, and finding a place where they could race at their optimum, basically, or find a perfect state for them to be in, at certain points in the race, which has been invaluable.
Yeah, and I know when you did your master practitioner with us, your modelling project was around the superbikes, because you worked with Shane Byrne.
Yeah, that's right.
4 times British Superbike champion.
Yeah, 4 times British Superbike champion. So my first kind of full-time year working with pro riders, we managed to win the championship, which was, amazing. Oh yeah, real kind of dream come true, because in my head years ago I had this kind of little idea of what it would be like and where I'd stand and how it would feel. So for all that to come together was fabulous. It really, really was, and great to work with somebody at the top of their game, because not only was it great for him to ask me about things, I was learning massive amounts from him because he's at the top of his sport. So how he was dealing with being with setbacks, how he was dealing with media, how he was dealing with people in his team and interaction and communication. So it was definitely invaluable, and I'm still learning lots now, and we're working with him again this year, hopefully for number 5.
We'll look forward to seeing that number 5 come in. So clearly your NLP training has made a massive difference to your personal training, and you've moved this forwards now into doing more performance coaching related work. Tell me a little bit about that.
So now I'm working a lot more using my NLP with athletes as well as general population. So I started to realise that with my personal training, that just getting a client to turn up and following a nutritional program and a nutritional routine and an exercise program wasn't always successful. And a lot of the time it was because there were other issues involved that were stopping people get to that point. So NLP gave me the skills to realise that and to use the skills that I'd gained through my master practitioner to help people with what a lot of the times were limiting beliefs about what they couldn't achieve, basically.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it, the parallels really that you see, having worked in elite sport for a number of years, I've seen how psychology has come more into its own over the years, and people now accept that. And I think the general population, the workforce, the executives, that's also something that's coming into play a lot more, isn't it?
Yeah, much more. Certainly in personal training now, people are genuinely interested. You tell them what you do and people want to know more, because I think people on a subconscious level realise that it's not just the program, it's not just the diet, it's something else that's blocking their route to what they want to achieve. Because everyone's got this idea, this picture, this goal what they want to do, whether it's with their physical training or in a work environment or an issue in their life. And NLP's just been enabled me to help people and work with people to break down those barriers so they can better understand it and really empower themselves to be able to move forward over those blockages, really.
Yes, and I suppose the beauty of it is it doesn't have to be in the elite sphere either. It can be, anybody that wants to achieve.
Yeah, certainly. I think that it's more general population, because once people have got to a high level, they've got to that level because they've not got too many issues that are holding them back. But certainly general population, when it comes to exercise and nutrition and body image and all these different types of things that affect them, it's a lot more beneficial to them, I think, to work with someone like a performance coach, what I'm doing now, to enable them to get over those stumbling blocks.
Yes, yeah. And you've joined forces with some guys in Richmond.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that venture.
Oh, this is a great venture. Years ago I worked with a group of guys who were fantastic. I think we were probably the best team of trainers that I'd worked with. Unfortunately, the circumstances that we were brought together in didn't quite work out, and we all splintered and went our separate ways, and had very different career routes. One of those guys has put a business together called One Performance UK and brought most of that team back together. This time I'm not working as a trainer, I'm going to be working solely as a performance coach, which I'm massively excited about. They know me, they know how I work, so it's going to be a really good way to work in conjunction with trainers and osteopaths, and we can all refer to each other and ultimately create a better environment for client success.
When you look back, and obviously, your career's been very successful, you've been very successful as a personal trainer, you're creating a niche for yourself as a performance coach using your NLP, using your personal training. When people are developing their careers and they're looking for advice or things to focus on, or something that's maybe going to set them apart a little bit from the average, what advice could you give them? What tips could you give them?
What tips? I think flexibility is key. I think understanding that everyone is different even though a formula may work, that you have to have flexibility in that for the individual. You know, people communicate differently. Some people are open, some people not. Some people are very easy to work with because you can communicate easily with them. So I think communication really would be the number one thing that I took out of it initially. You know, the smallest things like your sensory acuity, because a lot of the time you meet somebody and they don't want to be open with you because they don't know who you are. You know, you've not developed that rapport, you know, and it's a challenge for them to go, actually it's this and it's that, and so having that sensory acuity really helped initially.
Yes.
I think for me was a key skill, and would be a key skill for any personal trainer out there, definitely.
Yeah, and something obviously that, you know, was developed on the
NLP
training.
On an initial course, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I mean, you've obviously done all of your training with us. From that, what other areas do you think could help budding personal trainers?
All of it, really. I think because I've used all of it, all the little techniques along the way, all the little facets, I think all of it, I really do. Things that stuck out for me in the beginning were just little techniques that you could use to help people, you know, have a bit of a stronger perception about doing a certain exercise or their ability to change in a certain thing. The strategies, I think, in a master practitioner were invaluable when figuring out what motivates people, and again, more understanding of where they're coming from, and certainly timeline massively for limiting beliefs and helping people with limiting beliefs. A lot of the time, even making somebody, or not making somebody, but enabling them to understand more what their limiting beliefs were, was often enough, and you didn't even need to do the technique because it was like a penny dropping moment, and they go, right, okay.
Yeah. And
giving them the kind of empowering them and going, look, do you understand, that was often enough for them to then carry on and achieve what they wanted to achieve.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting point, because it's sometimes you don't have to do the full technique, and I think when you are well trained and when you've gone away as you have and really worked with your NLP to get it honed and get it into the neurology, as it were, you can spot and use your language to change people around.
I think that's been one of the really interesting things since finishing the master practitioner, is now I'm doing more sessions and having more experience, is tweaking things and understanding, okay, that didn't quite work as well, and then other times not going all the way into a technique because you don't need to. I had a couple of people now that I can think of that were clients of mine that wanted to give up smoking, and we didn't do it. All we did is we sat down for an hour and we just spent an hour, or I spent an hour just shaking up their model of the world.
Yeah.
And that was enough. And you know, they'd walk away and go, yeah, okay, right, whatever. And a lot of the time, well, actually, both times, walk away being quite annoyed and quite upset. But obviously that was what I was trying to do, to make them realise that the reasons that they were giving for smoking were just crazy.
Yes.
So yeah, then when they came back in, one lady specifically who was just like, did you hypnotise me? Did you hypnotise me? I said, no, it's just, we're just shaking up your model of the world to make you realise that the reasons that you were giving to do something weren't beneficial to you in any way.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's definitely something that's been quite
Yeah.
good, knowing when to use a technique and when not to.
Absolutely, and brilliant example of reframing.
Having done all the courses now, there's probably a lot of people that are trainers or work in the fitness industry, as managers maybe, or gym managers, that might look at the website and think that the course isn't for them because it's sport related, but I think anybody could go and do the course. I don't think you need a sporting background or a fitness background to go and do it and get something out of it. And I think, you know, if you go and did the practitioner, I think that becomes aware to you quite soon, because you learn stuff and you instantly think, I know of a scenario that I can use that, and I know of a scenario that I can use that, and it's really, you know, you can take it back into your workplace and use it straight away in your kind of time between the days of the course, which I think is you know, really, really good to be able to do that.
Brilliant, great, thank you.